Thank you.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. The IT people didn't allow us in on time, so that was why we'll be starting now. This is about 13 minutes past 12. So nonetheless, we'll start the class. We are just 20. I mean, together with the host, we are 22. So what we'll be considering this afternoon is titled Competencies and Quality Service Delivery of Social Worker Yakubone. So I'll be participating in this class for the next few weeks until write the exam. And it is my prayer and my hope that all of you will be admitted into the noble profession and will be seen as as good ambassadors of the institute the same time. So once again, I want to welcome you to this class, and what we'll be looking at is about competencies and good service delivery or quality service delivery in social work. Of course, if I ask all of you, when did you choose to be members of this noble institute? Why did you decide determined to go through this program? You have various reasons, and I pray that your intention will come true by the grace of God. And it is believed that you want to acquire certain skills so that very soon you can be called competent social worker. And if you don't have those competencies, then your service delivery will be in question, or whatever you do will be questionable. And of course, these days in different professions, we have quack as well. Why do we call them quack? Why do we call them quack? Even in the midst of the unskilled labor, we have quacks among them as well. That is why when you want to repair your car, you choose incompetent mechanic to do that for you. If it's anything that is related to auto, you want to pick competent auto electrician, panel beaters, and so on and so forth. Even regarding your health, you don't want to go to the hospital where you don't have competent staff, or where the personnel there they are not competent, or while the personnel are unskilled, you will not want to go. Even sending your children to school, you will not want to, you will not decide. I mean, you have to decide on which school to send your children to, and that will be based on so many factors. You will have considered the staff that are there, you will have considered the quality of their service, you will have considered the environment, you will have considered so many things. But in particular, you will be much more interested in the quality of service being given by the teachers, I mean by the personnel there. If the teachers are not competent, if you make a mistake of going there, you will quickly withdraw your word from those places because all those you are meeting there are staff. or those that could facilitate the education of your children, they are not that competent. That is, they don't possess the right skills to impart knowledge on your children. So talking about competence to social work professionals is very, very important, and this creates a basis for high quality care and services. If you do not have those competencies, your being called a professional will be questionable. So professional competencies consist of the knowledge, skills, attitude, and self-efficacy that you need to carry out, that you need to have to possess in carrying out your duties. Meaning that if you do not have the right knowledge, you do not have the required skills and right attitude, and of course self-efficacy, perception of your own ability and capacity to influence others. If those skills are missing, then you will not be called a good professional. So because you want to be professional, that is why you are in this institute. You want to be professional. That is why you have decided. Many of you have different degrees. Many of you practice in different fields. But because you require professionalism, you require that competency. That is why you are choosing to come to the institute so that you can also be social worker. Not just ordinary social worker, but a professional social worker and competent professional. Because as social workers, you should ensure safe and high quality, sorry, sorry, I think it was, I wouldn't know what happened. Perhaps it was network that took me off. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We are hearing you now.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I hear you
Yes,
clearly.
Okay.
We can.
All right. Thank you. Sorry, I wouldn't know what happened. You know, we're in Nigeria. Network will just be fluctuating anyhow. So I think before I was sharing my screen. So let me share so that we can be on the same page. So like I was saying, being being a professional requires that you you possess some qualities and you have some competencies as well. So you should, as professional, you should ensure that you have safe and high quality outcomes for individuals and populations. What do we mean by this? as social worker, you're looking at improving the standard of any individual, looking at ensuring that the individuals live well and individual well-being is promoted, as well as the uh, the well-being of the family, the well-being of the society he or she belongs. Knowledge consists of information and understanding of the subject area. As professional, you do the master of the subject area, of your subject area. You must be knowledgeable about what you profess. And that is why it requires you to go through this particular uh, step. And of course, you know what skills mean. When you have the required skill, that will demonstrate your professional ability to use the knowledge you have effectively and efficiently. Many people, they have skill, they have the knowledge, but they don't have good attitude. You know, when you have the right attitude, you can get to high altitude. But many people, they throw away this, and of course, that is the moral aspect of the profession. You may be brilliant, you may be competent, but when you don't have right attitude, what happens to that profession? Which means you have actually brought it down to zero level. That is where most in universities that I know of, when you graduate, they give you certificate. If you say having found competent or having certified the prescribed examination and found to be of good character, this certificate is awarded to him. They will add that character. So if you have everything and you don't have the character, you have everything, you don't have the right attitude, you are not promoting good in the society. So as social worker, all this, all these nuances must be balanced, must be balanced. So it's like a bird with two wings. You know, a bird cannot fly with a wing. You have to balance it. Intelligence is one thing, the right character is another thing. Yoruba land, we talk about Omoluabi ethos, that is having good morality. No matter how rich or how wealthy or how influential you are, if you do not have that ethos, everything comes to zero. So people will not give you any regard. But today, do professionals, they look at this area? Do, do professionals actually take cognizance of this? No. So that is why we emphasize attitude as well. During the course of our discussion, we'll talk more about this. Then self-efficacy, like I said earlier, it has to do with individual perceptions of their ability and capacity to influence action. So professional competence require a certain knowledge of social and emotional intelligence to reflect on what is needed and to apply it in practice in a purposeful, intentional, and professional manner. Purposeful, intentional, and professional manner. So as professional, you need to demonstrate that you are competent in all these areas. Competent in knowledge, competent in skills, competent in attitudes, also competent in self-efficacy. Have that self-efficacy skill. You know, self-efficacy is one of the constructs in the self-belief model that underpins study on behavioral change. So for you to effect anything, those you want to those that you want to effect things in must be able to demonstrate that they have that self-efficacy. They must be able to demonstrate that having acquired that knowledge that is passed to them, they must be able to influence the outcome of such information or knowledge imparted on them, must be able to influence action. That is, it must be impactful in the society. So, as expected, the service users value the relationship that they have with social work. You know why social workers are different? If you're a medical doctor, even though you are dealing with patients, you are dealing with human beings, the moment you emphasize more on your knowledge, you emphasize more on treatment, you emphasize more on clinical. That is why many people will not be sick, or many people will be sick, they will be taken to the hospital, but when they do the diagnosis, they will not find anything. Whereas his or her problem is social that many may not even look at, many may not even think of. But the doctors will be in their hospital and the patient will go there. When they attend to the patient, they discharge, and the patient continue to live most parts of his or her life outside hospital setting. What happens? What happens after hospital setting? That is why in social work, you look at the holistic well-being of any individual or any person you have come in contact with. So if your relationship with your client is not all that good, that may hamper any outcome you want to have of such relationship. It is seen as a crucial starting point for getting help and support on equal terms for working with rather than on people. In social work, you work with people, you don't work on them. Meaning that you treat them as your partner, you treat them as your equal. It's not one out of equal. You treat them as your equal. It's like sharing 50-50, sharing using 50% as your yardstick.
Look at that.
When you are a professional, you are a competent professional, you value relationship because your client, your service user, who is your client, will be much more interested in trust, in establishing good relationship with you. If the relationship is not good, no matter how skilled you are, no matter how knowledgeable you are, no matter how competent you are, and that aspect is failing, there may be a problem. So that is why you see sometimes you start talk of social work practitioners as friends, not because they mistake the professional relationship they have with them with an informal one, but because they associate it with all the best qualities they hope for from a trusted friend. So, what then is social work? What then is social work? Social work, of course, you know what social work is. If you don't know, you look at it as a behavioral science profession that promotes human rights, social justice, peace, and conflict resolution, engendering social change, problem solving, and sustainable development to human relationships, focusing on empowerment and liberation of people, and enhancing the well-being of individuals, family, groups, and community, like I said the other time. The overall aim of social work is to look at well-being of individuals, family, groups, and communities. using different methods to ensure that we have just social justice, to ensure that human rights are promoted. You liberate people that are disadvantaged, liberate people that are marginalized, and so on and so forth. So it is committed to maximizing the well-being of individuals and society. We consider that an individual and societal well-being is strengthened by socially inclusive communities that emphasize principles of social justice. So we emphasize social justice and respect for human dignity and human rights, including the right to freedom from intimidation and exclusion. Why social work? Life means to face the demand of day-to-day life and realize the self. Why do we have social work? Every day we continue to face one problem, one challenge or the other. And if you cast your mind back to the last 5, or let's say last 10, 15 years, the problems that we face or the challenges we face then, they are quite different now from what we face now. The last 15, 20 years, the issue of insecurity was not as pronounced as we have today, if you agree with me. It was limited to certain locations in Nigeria. But today, it has spread around the country, and everyone is aware that Nigeria is no longer secure. So, and this insecurity, this particular challenge, has associated problems or attendant problems with it. And because of that, those problems will require different strategies, different solution paths to ensure that we overcome them. So you will see that every day we continue to face challenges. And as a result, social worker will always be relevant as long as there is life. So in order to realize their life task, and everybody in this life has his own life task, people have to interact with the kind of resource system in the social environment. We need to interact with informal or natural resource system, which consists of family, friends, neighbors, co-workers, etc. These are natural. You need to interact with formal resource system, consists of membership in organizations, trade union, other socio-cultural organizations. Social resource systems such as schools, hospitals, and so on and so forth. You need to interact in those settings. And what are the purposes of social work? The purpose of the social work profession is to promote human and community well-being, like I said the other time, guided by a person and environment construct, a global perspective, respect for human diversity, and knowledge based on scientific inquiry. Social work in its various form addresses the multiple complex transactions between people and their environment. Its mission is to enable all people to develop their full potential, enrich their lives, and prevent dysfunction. The mission of social work is to enable people develop their full potential. Anyone, you must, as social worker, you must see that everyone, regardless of his sex, regardless of where he comes from, regardless of color, regardless of status, regardless of political inclination, religion, and so on and so forth, or ethnicity. You must look at a way to enhance the well-being of such an individual, to develop and to enable that individual develop his full potential. You must sorry, I think it's network. It's network. Maybe I may not share again. Perhaps I may not share again because I don't know what is happening. I don't know. Just a minute. So, social work purpose is realized through its pursuit for social and economic justice, the prevention of conditions that limit human rights, the elimination of poverty, and the enhancement of the quality of life for all persons, with with the commitment to respect the dignity and worth of all people and the prevention pursuit for social justice. What we are saying here is the fact that dignity of everyone is very, very important. That no, in as much as you are a human being, everybody deserves that dignity of life. Their life must be dignified. And the worth of every person is also important. All people, regardless of where he comes from, regardless of his status, it is important that we put it at the back of our mind that as social worker, we should be in position to facilitate it or to enhance all I have said. What are the duties of social worker in this regard? You are expected to defend and uphold physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual integrity and well-being of all persons. You know, well-being is very important. When we talk about well-being, we're talking about holistic, sustainable development of every individual, every family, every community, every society. So social workers, we have enormous task ahead of us to ensure that we have a just society, we have a free society, we have an egalitarian society, we have a society where no one is left behind. We have a society where everyone is equal or where everyone is equally treated. A society where those that are special population are given their due, where those that are disadvantaged are taken care of, where those that are vulnerable are also taken into the mainstream of governance, where we formulate policies that will address any identified inequality or gap in societal governance. It is our duty to ensure that we eradicate all forms of discrimination against any human being, against any person. It is our duty to ensure that everyone is treated rightly. Everyone is accorded his or her right respect. and ensure that right of every individual is protected and guaranteed. It is our duty to ensure all this. So we talk about respecting the right to self-determination. Respect the right of your service user that he or she can determine whatever he or she wants to become. You cannot force your opinion on such an individual, on your service user. You give respect to that right of any individual or your client. As social workers, you do not impose your own ideas. You allow, you recognize the fact that every individual has that right. Social workers to respect and promote people's right to make their own choices and decisions irrespective of their values and life choices, provided this does not threaten the rights and legitimate interests of others. You cannot exercise your right at the detriment of others. Or if in the course of exercising your own right, you are jeopardizing the right of others, that will not be allowed. It is our duty to promote and respect that. It is our duty to promote the right to participation. Everyone has that right to participate in anything that affects them. That is why we work with them. You don't work on them. They have that right to participate. And of course, participatory approach to development is the one that is sustainable nowadays. When you encourage participation, even at home, why are we practicing democracy? Democracy ensures that everyone participates in what affects them. You have the right to vote. You have that power to vote the person you want in power. It is your right to vote. When you cast your vote, you are exercising that right to participate in what affects you. It's whatever you put in today. So when you vote, when you cast your vote, you are exercising that right. You are determining, you are participating in the process that will affect you in future. So as social worker, we still promote that right. Treating each person as a whole. Don't treat people in isolation. Treat it as a whole person. Don't forget, we always emphasize holistic approach to everything you do. I wouldn't know whether you have heard about system thinking or system theory. You think about the effect of a part on the whole, meaning that you have to give regard to every part in that whole. That is when whatever you do, you have to consider the impact that particular aspect of what you are doing, that thing, on others. So, meaning that treat your client as a whole person. Consider his psychological life, social life, physical life, and so on and so forth. So that is why we say social workers will be concerned with the whole person within the family, community, society, natural environment, and to seek to recognize all aspects of person's life. If there's a conflict between spouse or a spouse has a challenge and you want to address, you want to assist that family. No matter what you do to that particular spouse, that will not have effect on the other spouse or the entire family. You have to put that one to consideration. Identify and development strength. Don't emphasize weaknesses. That person should place. That person should place. Like, who is the person? Is the stopping noise? You know it. Okay, let me move up from here.
So I think you need to call their name. You need to call her.
No way, Chinoye, can you please
Precious, mute your camera.
mute your mic, please? Mute your mic. Thank you. So you need to identify, as it's our duty to identify and develop strength. Social workers should focus on strength of all individuals, groups, and communities, and thus promote their empowerment. You should not focus on weaknesses alone. Everyone that is born of woman, as human beings, we have our weaknesses and we have our strengths. But as social workers, identify those strengths and build on the strength. And of course, you remember the SWOT analysis. But in this case, when you do your SWOT analysis, emphasize on the strength, because it is from that strength you can build whatever intervention you want to have to ensure that, or to enable that individual live a life that is worth living. Challenging negative discrimination. You ask yourself, without being a social worker, in your workplace, in your community, in your group, in your social group, in your religious places, do you encourage discrimination? Either knowingly or unknowingly. Do you encourage discrimination, or do you even discriminate? On your desk, where you work, do you discriminate because of color, because of certain characteristics? Do you discriminate? As social worker, you challenge any negative discrimination. It's your duty to challenge that. If you, as a social worker, you cannot do that, I believe in the saying that charity begins at home. On your little desk or small desk, in your little office, in your little capacity, what do you do as an individual? Because what you do now, when you don't have position, when you don't have power, when you don't have enormous authority, or you don't have enormous resources, what's your attitude? How do you discharge your responsibility? If you are lacking in discharging your responsibility now, when you get to a better position, when you get higher in the authority, when you are on top or at the peak of the hierarchy, do you think you will change? No, you have to start from now. You have to start from home. You have to start from scratch. It will be part of your, it will be part of your ability, it will be part of your habit from now. So that when you get there, it is very easier for you. You need not learn new things. It must have become part and parcel of you. So social workers have a responsibility to challenge negative discrimination on the basis of characteristics such as ability, age, culture, gender or sex, marital status, economic status, political opinion, skin color, racial, and so on and so forth. You must challenge it. Is it because you are a Yoruba person? You don't want to see an Hausa person? So you don't want to relate with him? Or is it because you are a Christian? You don't want to see a Muslim? Is it because you are from you are from a particular part of the country? You don't want to see any other Nigerian? Or is it because you are black? You don't want to see white? You are white, you don't want to see black? I believe in Good now. Those in South Africa that are attacking Nigerians, a fellow black person, I want to believe they don't have the right education, because there shouldn't be any room for discrimination. When apartheid was in vogue in South Africa, Nigeria supported them to fight apartheid. But now, Africans are fighting Africa. Africa is taking away Africans. That is discrimination at that level. Within your own unit, do you support negative discrimination or you challenge it? So if that is happening, if that is the system in your where you also belong, you should start from now and challenge such discrimination. Even among your children, among your siblings, within the family, do you encourage discrimination? So as social workers, that should start from you. You should live by example. So that people will say, oh, definitely, surely, this is a professional social worker. As social worker, you also recognize diversity. In Nigeria, we always say we should promote unity in diversity. It's not just an empty boast or empty statement. Even though we say it, we don't practice. We don't respect it. But as social worker, you should recognize that diversity. That no two individuals are the same. No two nations are the same. There may be similarity in some aspects, but there is uniqueness in every individual. Everyone is unique. If you have the same challenge and we want to solve that particular challenge, we want to face that particular challenge, we want to look for ways, strategy to overcome that challenge. We may have to tread different paths to get to the solution. But yes, we'll get to the solution. That is the beauty of diversity. Because we are not endowed. We are not endowed in the same way. We are not endowed in the same way. And that establishes right relationship. So as social worker, we should recognize that diversity. We should recognize and respect the ethnic and cultural diversity of the society in which we practice, taking account of individual, family, group, and community differences. There are individual differences. There are societal differences. National differences are there. Ethnicity, differences in our ethnicity, we have it. Even in our political affiliation, you may belong to party A and may belong to party B. Some other people may be in party C, D, and E and F. The fact that we are all human beings, that will be the common denominator. The fact that we are human beings, every woman, that should be boldly written in our mind that as long as this person is a woman, such a person must be respected. The fact that someone is younger than you are does not mean you can just maltreat that person. The fact that you are a superior person, or the fact that you are a boss, you are a head in your workplace, does not mean that you should not respect your subordinate. Because everyone has his or her own potential. It is our duty to distribute resources equitably as well. Any resources in your possession or at your disposal, you must ensure that these resources are equitably distributed. Do we do it in Nigeria? Although we cannot distribute resources equally, but we are talking about equity. Equity. Give what is due to Caesar, give it to him. And to the other person, give it to him. The fact that I'm a stock person does not dictate that what I get, a stock person should get the same as I get. If you do that, you are going to put that some man at disadvantage. If I buy a plot of 4 years for me, that 4 years may not be adequate for that top man, that top person. Definitely, you have to apply principle of equity. If he requires 6 years, give 6 years to him, give me 4 years. That will be okay for me. That is equity. So Let, as social worker, any resources at your disposal, whatever resources, any resources, ensure that these are equitably distributed. Challenge unjust policies and practices. The, the unacceptable practices, cultural practices in our society, we need to challenge them. Unjust policies that may affect the welfare, that may affect the long-term well-being of an individual, family, community, and society at large. It is your responsibility to challenge those policies and practices. Challenge in the sense that you challenge legally. I mean, you challenge in a decent way. It's not that you want to challenge unjust policy by carrying placards or by staging protests. No, social workers don't do that. You challenge politely. You challenge decently. You follow the process to challenge those policies so that you can effect change. Even though those that agitate, those that protest openly, those that engage in demonstrations, sometimes they achieve their aim, but what they achieve is minimal compared to if you diligently approach this issue through the right process or due process, you can achieve more. The outcomes will be more than that one you will achieve when you take a violent path. So social workers have a duty to bring to the attention of their employers, policymakers, politicians, and the general public situations where distribution of resources, policy, and practice are oppressive, unfair, or harmful. There are harmful practices within our society. Look at the female genital mutilation. The female genital mutilation is regarded as an harmful practice in our society and is being tackled. What's your role? What's your role? Drug, what's your role? The 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 habit or the belief that women have no voice where men are present is a cultural practice that you cannot just allow to go and go on because they are denying the women of their autonomy. They are denying them of their autonomy. So how do you now challenge those things? It must be challenged distant.
Wannan sabon ne da
Working in solidarity.
kashiri yana karatu ma a masallacin izalar da kai ai dan izalawa ne
Sulaiman, can you please mute your mic? Titu Sulaiman.
Sorry
Mute
sir,
your mic,
sorry
please.
sir. Sorry sir.
Don't say sorry, just mute your mic. Thank you. So, working in solidarity, social workers have an obligation to challenge social conditions that contribute to social exclusion, stigmatization, or subjugation, and to work towards an inclusive society. Social injustice prevails when society infringes on human rights and so on and so forth. So, but what this one is saying is that social work, we don't work in isolation. We don't work in silo. You work with others, other experts. You bring in others that are more knowledgeable or that are your colleagues that have expertise in some areas. That is why in social work there are different aspects, different specializations. You may be an expert in child protection. Some may be another person may be an expert in community development. When you talk of community mobilization, such an individual will be very, very relevant. There are social workers that specialize in that are in health services. You may require their own work. There's some that even belong to welfare, different areas of specialization. So you don't say because you are a social worker, you want to become jack of all trades. You need to specialize. You need to recognize the fact that you don't know it all. We work in team. Team literally we say together everyone achieves more. Together everyone achieves more. When we come together, we begin to have a robust approach to addressing any challenge that we may have. Why are social work competencies important? Social work competencies are important because they support with ethical decision making. There are code of ethics that guide our practice. It helps promote excellent practice. When you have when you possess all the right competencies, your practice will be so excellent, and people will see you as really a good professional. It enables us to show professional commitment. When you have those competencies, you be committed to helping the society. It helps us take responsibility for our conduct and practice because you take responsibility for whatever you do. We talk about code of ethics. You have to take responsibility for whatever you do. But we don't have those competencies, you may not know. It adds evidence on our knowledge. You are possessing knowledge and you are professing it. Helps to maintain a positive attitude towards good behavior, towards improving the well-being of the society. It enables us to take charge of our professional development. So everything that we'll be discussing in this particular program, they will enhance your knowledge. They will boost your knowledge horizon, and that will professionally prepare you to practice. Support with learning new skills. You will learn some new skills that you may not know about before. Help us to understand our role as social workers, like I earlier explained before this session, and also to establish and maintain the trust and confidence of our clients or service users. And when you possess those competencies, your service users will have that trust in you. Will ensure that such a service user will repose confidence in you, because social work, when you miss that trust, there's no way you can be better or you can be more successful. But that trust must be there and it must not be broken. It is when you possess the competency that we discussed, that is when you can build on that trust. Because trust will bring so many other things. The moment your client loses trust in your ability, trust in your person, there's no way your intervention can be of any impact. So I think at this point, I want to pause to allow you to ask questions, make comments, and when we have the opportunity of meeting next time, we'll continue. We want to start from those competencies. We'll take one after the other. What we do is from competency 1 up to the last competency, we try and discuss them, apply them to the real life situation, and of course, social work is a practical profession. It's not just theory. If it is theory, will have allowed you to just come into the profession and you'll be awarded certificate or you'll be inducted. But because the institute is trying to build a bridge between the GAN and the SWPCE, so that whatever theory we have learned, we'll be able to apply it appropriately. Because when you get to the field, you will discover that you need some skills that were not taught in school. That is why we are going through this rigor. So, if you have questions, you can raise your electronic hand and allow you to unmute or to make your comments or to ask questions. Thank you so much. So just raise your hand, let me know, then I give you the opportunity to go on. Okay, John Paul, I can see your hand. Go ahead, or you
Yeah.
can speak out.
Good afternoon, sir. Your delivery has been so excellent and very impactful. But I'd like to make some inquiry or ask a question, as it were. Does it mean peaceful protest by a social work agency is out of place in trying to fight for social justice, lobby for policies, as it were? Is it out of place when it's staged peacefully and professionally?
Oh, you have answered it. When it is peaceful protest, peaceful demonstration that will not affect, that will not jeopardize the right of others. Remember, as social workers, we are problem solvers, so to put in quotes. The society believes that we are there to better the lot of the society. We are there to ensure that the well-being of every individual, every family, community, and society is promoted. If that is the case, we should not be source of problem for that society. That's my perspective. So, if it is peaceful and it does not affect the right of others, there's no problem. It is allowed. That is why I said you should follow due process, follow the right channel, and ensure that the action you are taking will have impact, or it will influence what you want to achieve. It will enable those that are to act on them to act faithfully. But if it will cause other problems, is it not better dropped? That is what the social workers will weigh. It will weigh it on scale and see if that peaceful demonstration or peaceful protest will actually lead to achieving the objective. Fine, but it must be peaceful and it must be orderly. It must be legally approved. But before then, there should have been some steps taken to get to the authority that are concerned, which may not even necessitate any public protest. Roundtable discussion, advocacy, because when these people, when they formulate policy, sometimes it is we, the public, that do not support them. How? For any policy government wants to bring out, most times, if there are policies that will affect the life of the people, most times they are supposed, the policy formulation has a process. If that process is followed, it will involve stakeholders that will be affected by that policy. But we know our government these days, when they want to do things, they don't even involve stakeholders. They just rule out the policy. That's the problem we have, just like as if we are in the military era. But it shouldn't be the case. But if that happens, there are channels through which you can just make our protest known, or we can challenge those policies. If there are policies that may not improve or may not contribute to the welfare of the people in the society well, or there are harmful policies or unjust policies, there are houses of assembly. We have a National Assembly that will take our protest to. We have other arms of government, especially the legislature. I think the legislature, they are supposed to perform some oversight function. They are supposed to perform some functions over the executive. To me, the legislature, they have that power over the executive. If the executive misfire, the National Assembly, the legislature just invite them to explain why that has been like that. So it's not out of place, in as much as it is well guided and it is well said in a way that will give results. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You are welcome, sir. Any other one? Any other question, comment, contributions? Let me tell what is in the chat room. Okay. Somebody said, please, I was left behind due to network problems. Somebody else to help me with the overview. So you see your colleague later. Okay, no problem. If there are no questions, I think this is a convenient point where we went to the class. I will try to send this material to you so that you can also go through and read more. We are in the global village now. You can read beyond this. So this is a little just to guide our facilitation. So I will share it with you so that you can go through. So I don't know when we are meeting again. I think next week. I will check the timetable. So when we meet next week, we'll continue from where we stopped today. So once again, I want to thank you for your time and the attention. God bless you. Bye-bye.
Amen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye, class. Yeah.
God bless
You
you,
are
sir.
welcome. You are welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.